Hey everybody, welcome back to What's for Dinner. Hope you're all doing good. It's been a minute. Sorry, the holidays have been taking place at our house, so we've had a lot going on the last couple of weeks. So we've been a little bit sparse with regards to our dinner videos and whatnot. So with all that being said, as you can see, not much has changed around our household as far as dinner goes. So we had our little standby favorite, which is a 70-30 burger, 70% protein, 30% fat, and then some of the pizza without the crust. And then we have some spinach dip and some eggs and some other little things for the side. So
yeah, and I just want to say, when you're relearning how to fix food, it seems overwhelming. But I don't know what time I got home. Do you know, like 4:15?
yeah, it was probably about 4:15.
Yep. And so I just walk in the house. Tonight I didn't do bacon because we have a little leftover from yesterday, but I would start the bacon in the air fryer. He goes and starts the burgers, and then I'm doing this pizza thing, and then he tells me he flipped the burger, and I'm stirring up scrambling eggs. It's so easy, and now we're sitting down to eat like a half hour later. So
Other than just sitting here mouth watering while we're doing What's for Dinner and waiting to eat, actually put the food in our mouths. No, I'm kidding. We love doing this, so we're excited to help people out.
Yeah, we just want to make a difference for you
Yeah,
guys.
we're trying. But anyway, just to back up a little bit. So I'm Mark. For those of you who are new to the station, welcome. And I'm a certified health coach. And then Teresa here is a board certified family nurse practitioner. And so we like to talk about hormones and metabolic health and all the stuff that goes in between those and around those.
Yep.
So, and also welcome back to all of our regulars.
Yay!
We love you guys. So
Yes.
We're so happy to have you back. All right, guys. Tonight, Teresa wants to talk to you a little bit about thyroid. So for those of you out there who may be suffering and just feeling kind of sluggish, maybe you've been putting on weight and don't know why, or you're having these severe mood swings and whatnot, that could be your thyroid. So Teresa's going to talk to you a little bit about that tonight.
Yep. So let me tell you a story. So there's somebody that we know that we see once a week. And so we were talking one day, and she has thyroid. I think she had thyroid cancer and had her thyroid removed. And so when we were chatting, she did tell me, when I was talking about Cytomel, which is the T3 portion, she said, "Oh, my doctor, my endocrinologist did give me T3. I about fell over in my chair." So I'm like, "What endocrinologist?" And then I say, what microgram? And she said 5 micrograms. And I was like, oh gosh, that's like spitting in the wind. But, but to them, it's like, at least I gave it to you. I gave it to you, but see, you don't think it works. So I said to her on the side, I said, all you really need is 10 micrograms. 10 micrograms is a great starting dose. And then we didn't see her for the summer. Then I saw her in the fall, and I was like, oh my gosh, what did you do? Like, she clearly lost a lot of weight. And she said, I went up from 1 Cytomel to 2. But now her endocrinologist is freaking out about her TSH and is wanting to reduce the dose. So the endocrinologist world are little gatekeepers, and as Mark calls them, badge protectors. They don't want anyone doing anything different. So the consensus on thyroid is that you treat a TSH only, and you treat the medicines with levothyroxine or Synthroid. So levothyroxine or Synthroid is a T4 medicine. Okay, it has T4 in it. Your thyroid gland makes 5 thyroid hormones. We do measure T4 and T3. It's T3 that does all of the stuff. T3 is the metabolically active hormone, which means it resolves the things that you find out when you have low thyroid, which is hair, skin, and nails. So hair thinning or not growing as well. Sparse eyebrows. I remember when I finally got my thyroid better and treated correctly, the girl that did my facials was like, oh my gosh, your eyebrows are amazing. I want to shape them now. So eyebrows, when people are missing the last third of their eyebrows, you can pretty much say thyroid. So hair, skin, and nails, energy, anxiety, depression, blood pressure, cholesterol, heart disease. People with subclinical hypothyroidism have all of those issues. Now, fun fact, back in the early days, before I was even thought of by my parents, not God, 40s and 50s, we treated, 60s and 70s probably, we treated anxiety and depression, guess what with? Thyroid. And guess what? There was no Levo and Synthroid. It was Armour thyroid or pork or natural desiccated thyroid. So, so those are all the thyroid symptoms. And it is confusing because they do sound like low iron and they do sound like hormones, okay? But the little gatekeepers don't want you figuring out that you can optimize your thyroid as well, because testosterone and thyroid are the feel-good hormones for men and women. So they're actively quick acting. You feel much better. So anyway, TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone, is what the blood test is for corporate medicine to diagnose hyper or hypothyroidism. So TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, is a pituitary hormone. The pituitary is in your brain. He's the master gland that sends out all the signaling hormones to the ovaries, to the testes, to the thyroid, all the things. So measuring him as a TSH tells you zero about your thyroid hormones. It's like saying my car runs, but if a mechanic opened the hood, he's going to see you've got duct tape and, you know, everything is about to fall apart, but your car runs. So it doesn't tell you anything about the actual thyroid hormones. And so in corporate medicine, if your TSH is high, so the range goes from 0.4 to 4.5. If you're 4.5 or higher, it's counterintuitive. You have low thyroid, you have hypothyroidism. When your TSH is low and suppressed and your T3 and T4 are elevated, you have hyperthyroidism. And Hashimoto's, which is what I have also, is the autoimmune low thyroid. And then Graves' disease is the autoimmune hyperthyroid. Okay. So for me, I got diagnosed when I was interning in my last nurse practitioner rotations, primary care. I had nodules on my thyroid. She did an ultrasound, did a lab work, and I was low in thyroid. And I was like, thank God, because I can't study. I can't concentrate. I want to nap all the time. I can't lose weight. So she started me on Synthroid. And I waited and I waited and nothing happened because you're giving back T4. Synthroid is T4. Levo is T4. You're missing the T3 part. And I don't have any problem with synthetic T4 levothyroxine and T3, which is liothyronine. I have no problem with that. But kitty cat's getting into something. But your providers do. They won't prescribe T3. So anyway, the TSH only tells us if the pituitary gland is working or not. So you can have a normal thyroid, which I see all the time, or I see people on Synthroid, normal TSH, but their T3 is super low or their T4 is super low. It's the T3 that's metabolically active, and that's the one you got to look at. But endocrinologists don't care. They do not want you getting T3 because, again, thyroid and testosterone are feel-good hormones for men and women. You can have cellular resistance, thyroid cellular resistance, just like you have insulin resistance. So you might have thyroid circulating, but you have cellular resistance. You can have things wrong with your enzyme. There's a deiodinase enzyme that converts T4 and T3 and does all the things. You can have a problem with that, which a lot of PCOS women, polycystic ovarian syndrome women, do have a problem with that. Chronic fatigue. I mean, I'd be giving someone T3 and T4 to see if we can't help a little bit. What was the other one? I guess so. Oh, and liver health. You do all the conversions in your liver, and we all know our livers are bogged down because alcohol, endocrine disruptors, dirty environment, and all that stuff. So
yeah,
when I put someone on thyroid, which I do all the time, and they end up at their regular doctor and their TSH, they'll randomly check a TSH, a thyroid stimulating hormone, and it's super low. They start freaking out and telling my patient, you're going to get atrial fibrillation, which is a cardiac dysrhythmia, and you're going to get osteoporosis. So they're confusing the studies on hyperthyroidism, like true endogenous hyperthyroidism, with me having someone on medicine and manipulating a TSH. I can't cause hyperthyroid, okay? But that's what they throw around. People will come in and say, oh, I was on thyroid this dose, and then I got hyperthyroid and I went to this dose. That's not what happens. Also, when you take your thyroid medicine and when you get your labs drawn is a big deal. So I like my patients to go at least 5 hours to the lab after taking hormones. The Stop the Thyroid Madness book wants you to go 18 hours before taking your labs after your last dose. So if you take your dose and go to the lab, it's going to look super high, your T3, and then people are going to freak out, but it's peaking. So there's all these nuances, but you guys already know this. Corporate medicine doesn't care. It's like a box. Does it fit in a box and does it not? So,
yeah.
So I use personally compounded thyroid. And that is like Armor or NP, or we used to have Nature-Throid, we used to have West-Throid. Those are all pork. So it's compounded. It's pork thyroid, and it's T3 and T4 compounded together. Your thyroid makes 80% T4 and 20% T3, but it's the T3 that resolves all the symptoms. So periods being off and irregular and weird, we could also help fix that with thyroid as well. So, But again, side effects to T3 can be anxiety and heart palpitations, but many times adding T3 will uncover hidden things that you have going on. And the number 2 things is adrenal dysfunction, like too high of cortisol, and then iron issues. So low iron, if you add T3, you could feel even worse. But anyway, I love thyroid. I give it to a lot of my patients that don't have thyroid disease because I'm optimizing everything. But you got to look at the whole thing, and antibodies. So thyroid peroxidase antibodies and thyroglobulin antibodies. If I'm giving you the right medicine, your pituitary gland is super smart. He's going to stop sending out TSH. So it's going to go lower and lower and lower. You know what I think when I see a low, or like my TSH is suppressed? You know what I think? I think, oh, I have them on the perfect amount of medicine. Okay. If you ever went off of your thyroid, we tell patients to wean off their thyroid, because as you start lowering thyroid in your bloodstream, your pituitary is going to be like, oh, I need TSH again. And he's going to start sending TSH out again. TSH is the signaling hormone the pituitary sends to the thyroid to tell the thyroid to make T4 and T3, and then TSH goes on its way. If you have a great dose of thyroid, you don't need TSH. Pituitary stops sending out TSH, and the TSH levels go lower and lower. That means nothing. I've had a suppressed TSH for a long time, and I do not have osteoporosis. I don't even have osteopenia, and I don't have AFib. So, but it's the gatekeepers.
Yeah. Quick question. So a lot of folks out there, when you hear providers and whatnot, especially on social media, talking about it, they, instead of talking about hypo and hyperthyroid, they'll typically say overactive and underactive thyroid. It's kind of another word for it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to touch base on that and make sure I'm correct when I'm talking about, an overactive thyroid being hyperthyroid and an underactive being hypothyroid.
And I don't really treat hyper, but I did have a patient, and both of them were on thyroid medicine, but they actually had hyperthyroidism. So how do I know? Well, one patient was real jittery and weird symptoms. So I said, come in the office and get labs. And when she walked in, I was just like, okay, something's up. Her TSH was suppressed, but her T3 was greater than 20, and her T4 was like 12 or 13. That is hyperthyroidism, not what you're going to get from taking my prescriptions. And then another woman was shaky. You can't lose weight. You can't sleep. She was a vet tech. So like she just, could hardly do things. You can get hyperthyroidism postpartum. So she was about a year out postpartum. So I just watched her with this endocrinologist. She's like, he's mean and awful and terrible. Will you just run my labs every week? And I was like, sure. He wanted to just watch it every 6 weeks. So we watched it. It went up, the T3 and T4, and then it just came right back down to normal. So now it's all fine. But it's just silly. I can't make you have hyperthyroidism. That's something that goes on endogenously from the inside. Me giving you exogenous pills from the outside, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I have seen actual cases, and it is fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up for today. If you guys are interested in more of Teresa's hormone talks, you could just go back and kind of scroll back on Facebook, or if you're on YouTube, you can look at earlier videos. We have quite a few that we talk about testosterone. We talk about all the hormones and stuff. Actually, Teresa talks about them, because when we can do the hormone stuff, I kind of stay out of it.
Yeah. And if you go back to like 2020, 2021, there were quite a few hormone thyroid posts in there. So
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And if you guys appreciate what we're doing, give us some thumbs ups and some likes. If you're new, please feel free to follow us or like us on Facebook, and just go ahead and subscribe to us on YouTube. Smash those buttons. And then also we'll drop a lot of information in the description under YouTube. And then also Teresa will drop it in the comments on Facebook. It'll have things like links to our website, links to the supplement store that we have, some podcasts Teresa's done, things like that, just so you can kind of see what we're all about.
Yep.
And so, all right, well, are you good with all that, hon?
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, as always, we love you all, and we'll talk to you next time. And don't forget, food does matter, guys. Matters a lot.
It does.
All right, bye. See you next time.
Bye.